was a very different experience. I have had rice before, but there was something really magical about this grain, and it was not just about the taste. The smell, the texture, it kept me intrigued. I felt there was a lot more to the grain they called Basmati. So I set out to know more about it. My journey to discover Basmati started here in India, a land where this grain goes beyond being food and is a symbol of its rich and varied cultural fabric. Here, Basmati is a part of its rituals, and its history is replete with stories like the one where Nawab Wajid Ali Shah took Basmati to Kolkata and gave the world a new kind of biryani. In India, it not only plays its part in lunchboxes and dinners, but also holds sway as the ever-present delight at every big and small celebration. My quest took me to the foothills of the great Himalayas, in the lap of the world's highest mountain range, where the alluvial silt flowing from the rivers makes the soil extremely fertile, rich in nutrients, and ideal for growing Basmati. It is in these fields that Basmati, the prince of rice, is born and brought up. A small patch of land is specially prepared, and in the month of April, the first step, sowing, begins. I met Sohan, one of the many proud Basmati farmers of this area.
बासमती की जो देख रेख है वो सर अपने बच्चों की तरह होती है, बस वैसे ही करनी पड़ती है।
Soon the green buds started appearing and slowly filled up the small patch of land called the nursery. And they were shifted to the big fields in a meticulous and intricate process called transplanting. What I saw was a magical blend of science and tradition as the farmers carefully picked the buds and planted them in a big field. The buds were precisely spaced to ensure that each bud got the right amount of nutrients, sunlight, and enough room to grow. The transplanting was done, and the wait began for our buds to become crops. Now my journey brought me to another part of northern India, Kurukshetra, the land of the Mahabharata, and it was here that I took the story of Basmati forward. The Basmati crop was in its green stage and ready to flower. For the farmer, the vigil continued. Unlike regular rice, the Basmati takes more time to ripen and be ready for harvest. This extra time not only increases the care the farmer has to put in, it also increases the risk of bad weather and crop diseases. But farmers who grow Basmati give it their all. Dan Singh, one of the oldest farmers, gave us a glimpse.
बासमती जी चावल के लिए पहले तो पनीरी तैयार करनी पड़ा जी। पनीरी तैयार करके जी फिर जब वो मान ली 20-25 दिन की हो जा, फिर खेत तैयार करना पड़ा पानी छोड़कर, उसको तैयार करके फिर वो पनीरी उखाड़ का फिर वो मजदूरों से वो लगवाई जाती है जी। इसके पूरे उगने में जी कम से कम 4 महीने लगी जा जी। पूरा टाइम यहीं रहना पड़ा जी इसकी देखभाल के लिए, पानी भी देना, खाद भी करवाना, स्प्रे भी करवानी है।
Three weeks had passed, and the milky white fields were ripe and ready for harvest. These beautiful golden layers were all set to begin the next part of their journey. The harvesting is underway, but unlike the combine harvester used for regular rice crops, Basmati is harvested using a more traditional technology, a pair of hands and a sickle. Workers from nearby villages were hired for this purpose. Like the farmers, these workers were also adept in their techniques, and they soon filled the field with stacks of golden paddy. Once the stacks were arranged, the workers got busy threshing the crops and collecting the grain using just their hands and an empty drum. As the day passed, the workers continued beating the crops in an almost rhythmic manner and finished the entire field. Once the grain was collected, its moisture level was checked. Though a testing device is generally used for this process, for most of the farmers like Sohan Lal, a touch is enough to know whether the levels are okay or not. The testing was done, and the grain went through a chaffing machine which separated all the chaff and husk, after which it was loaded into trucks. Our journey now brought us to the Kurukshetra Mandi. A mandi is a place where the farmers sell their produce to the mills. Every farming village and town in India and Pakistan have one of these. What seemed like a place filled with chaos to an onlooker like me was actually a finely organised and precisely managed affair. The selling process was based on an open auction supervised by commissioning agents, where the farmer has the choice to sell his produce to the highest bidder. Though the process and the mandi is the same for all crops, the basmati is given a special place and a special auction time. Luckily, we got to see a live auction. I spoke to Narendra, the head of the Mandi Association, to understand the process and its relevance.
ऑप्शन से थोड़ा किसान को कंपटीशन मिल जाता है, व्यापारी में क्वालिटी के हिसाब से थोड़ा कंपटीशन जाता है, अच्छी क्वालिटी के अच्छे दाम मिल जाते हैं। ऑप्शन नहीं होगी तो कोई भी व्यापारी कुछ भी रेट लगा के चला जाएगा। उससे एक थोड़ा डिसाइड हो जाता है कि ये क्वालिटी में इसमें क्वालिटी है, उसके दाम अच्छे मिल जाते हैं किसान को। ऑप्शन ज़रूरी है किसान के लिए, और टैग पे ऊपर रेट डिसाइड होता है, ये रेट है इस डेट का और इस आड़ती से हमने परचेज किया, ये किसान है, तो उसमें ट्रांसपेरेंसी होती है, टोटल ट्रांसपेरेंसी है, डेट की कब की है। बासमती इम्पोर्टेंट है, खाने के हिसाब से इम्पोर्टेंट है, अपने का टेस्ट उसका अरोमा बहुत बढ़िया है, टेस्ट ही इसका बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत स्वादिष्ट है। जब बासमती किसी घर में पकती है तो पूरा मोहल्ले में उसकी स्मेल जाती है।
The mandi functions like a well-oiled machine. Once the deal was done, the produce was cleaned again, packed in sacks, weighed, and the sacks were stitched shut. The sacks were sealed, and the name of the farmer, agent, and basmati variety was written on a tag. Next, the sacks were loaded into the buyers' trucks and moved to the storage mills. The amount of work that went behind the basmati was slowly getting revealed, and the picture was getting clearer. But there was one question that kept buzzing in my head. How do they distinguish varieties, and how do they ensure consistent quality? Determined to find the answers, I knocked on the door of Mr. Balaji, a rice scientist at Tilda, one of the biggest premium quality basmati distributors in the world.
Basmati is a natural product. Its unique characteristics like long grain, sweet texture, nutty aroma, and a fluffy cooked rice texture make it a unique rice in the world. At Tilda Hain, as a quality management function, starting right from year-on-year crop health evaluation to better quality management function, to aging of crop, to DNA, microbiology, mycotoxins and microbiological evaluations, physical and sensory evaluation, all we do here is to ensure a consistent product quality, which is vital to live to customer expectation. In other words, what we do here, we use lot of science and technology to ensure the magic of Basmati stays as it should.
At their high-tech facility at Tilda, the grains undergo an array of stringent tests, including DNA fingerprinting. Yes, the same that is used to catch criminals, done specifically to know the exact genetic makeup and variety. All this left me with a sense of awe, and suddenly the Basmati I knew became even more interesting. I thought my journey was complete, but little did I know I was just halfway. Because the Prince of Rice was waiting for me at the mill. The very next day, I was at a milling factory, watching the sacks of grain enter a new phase of their lives, one that lasts almost a year. Here too, they are looked after with the same amount of love and attention. The grains are soon unloaded and stored in silos with advanced sensors and monitors that keep a constant eye on the temperature, moisture, and other factors and automatically controls them. Soon the time comes for the Prince of Rice to take another big step. Impatient and bursting with curiosity, I walked into the mill to discover the process of milling and polishing. I followed the grains as they took a roller coaster ride through advanced machines that automatically control the milling and polishing process. A process where the paddy, the rice with its husk intact, loses its brown husk-like shell and gets polished and ready to get into packs. Each part of the grain that is removed is not wasted, but used as animal feed, in rice bran oil extraction, etc.
Basmati grains are quite fragile. We have to handle Basmati rice gently, and our unique process allows us to do that and to produce an end product that is of the highest quality. It undergoes what we call a pre-cleaning stage, milling stage, polishing stage, sorting stage and grading stage, which then produces the end result of the Basmati rice that we produce.
The packaging process is where an awful lot of things come together. The milled rice is gently conveyed into the packing hole. Our job then is to pack it in many different forms of consumer packs. We do a vast array of stock keeping units, which is driven by our customers' demands. It is full of automated production lines, and those various automated production lines have high-tech machinery on them, largely which is bespoke to Basmati. So we specifically design our production lines to look after the Basmati grain and to interface with the premium packaging that we use.
Once packed and sealed in airtight packs, the exquisite Basmati is loaded onto the trucks and distributed to the stores around us. The intriguing journey of the Basmati has now come to an end. The Prince has come a long way from the nursery to the big field and then crossing borders and oceans into mills and machines. Cared and nurtured at every step till it reaches its final destination. No, not the plate, but our palate. The smell, the texture and the taste of Basmati comes from this goodness, and it passes on every time a mother makes a Basmati dish for her family, leaving behind a beautiful memory on the palate and the mind.